Anders Rasmussen, Emmanuel Macron does not understand what Donald Trump is doing in Greenland. Can you enlighten him and everyone else?
No, I I don't understand it either. And the serious thing is that the future of NATO is at stake, and the world order as we know it is at stake. So it's a very serious situation.
It's perilous indeed. Dangerous.
Yes, yes, it is. So I think we have to engage in a more constructive discussion. President Trump wants to acquire Greenland, but Greenland is not for sale, and you can't purchase something that's not for sale. So his only means of acquiring Greenland would be to conquer it by a military action, which of course would mean the end of NATO. So instead, I think we should table concrete proposals to chew on as an alternative to this discussion on territory.
Well, I mean, it would not only be the end of NATO, but the end of Greenland if Donald Trump were to invade. He says, though, that Denmark hasn't been looking after Greenland and can't defend it. Does he have a point? You're a former Prime Minister of Denmark. Does he have a point there?
Oh, he doesn't have a point. The fact is, the defense of Greenland is already a joint responsibility between the United States and Denmark. We have an old defense agreement dating back to 1951. Within that framework, the United States can deploy as many troops in Greenland as they wish. They can establish as many bases as they wish. But today they have less than 200 troops deployed in Greenland in just one base. So I would invite the United States to negotiate on a new defense agreement. This year it celebrates its 75th anniversary. Time has come to renew it with an aim to deploy more, I would say, NATO troops to ensure more strong NATO presence in Greenland.
So far from Denmark neglecting Greenland, has the US actually neglected Greenland and not deployed the military resources that it could have done?
Yes, indeed. When there were most American troops deployed in Greenland, they had more than 10,000 American troops deployed. Now it's reduced to less than 200. They had several bases in Greenland. Now they have only one. So I think the United States should take its responsibility for the defense of Greenland seriously. And within the current framework, it's possible.
It is strange because in Donald Trump's bizarre text to the Norwegian Prime Minister, he says, and I quote, "Why do they, Denmark, have a right of ownership anyway?" I mean, do you understand what he's on about there?
No. The fact is, back in 1917, Denmark sold the 3 Virgin Islands to the United States. On that occasion, the then Secretary of State in the United States signed a document in which the United States recognizes Danish sovereignty over Greenland. That was repeated in the 1951 security agreement between Denmark and the United States. So the United States have recognized already the Danish sovereignty of Greenland.
You talked about having a serious discussion, but hasn't it gone beyond that now? I mean, Denmark has sent 100 troops into Greenland. Doesn't it need to be much more forceful? You know, it's the only language that Donald Trump understands, the language of power. Doesn't a far larger contingent now need to go into Greenland?
Yes, indeed. I think time for flattering has ended. So far, Europeans have done their utmost to please Trump, and we had a very successful NATO summit in The Hague last year. Trump left that summit happy about NATO. He praised NATO and the member states. So far, so good. But he continues his aggressive behavior. So I think time has come to stand up against Trump. I would appreciate a stronger um, presence of NATO troops in Greenland, and I think the European Union should respond determinedly if Trump carries out the special tariffs on 8 European countries, as he have indicated.
You've said the time for flattery is over. Your successor as NATO Secretary General, Mark Rutte, sent the most sycophantic, I guess, message to Donald Trump, praising his accomplishments in Syria, in Gaza, in Ukraine. Is that the wrong approach? Is that diplomacy 101, or is it sycophancy?
Well, as I said, so far I think it has served us well, but I think enough is enough. Now Trump is really undermining the transatlantic relationship. He is threatening the current world order that has served us for so well for so many decades. And that's why I think time has come to stand up against him. The only thing Trump respects is force, strength, and unity. And that's exactly what Europe should show now.
Is NATO dead? Because Trump has threatened a NATO ally.
And so far, nothing has happened, actually. But no doubt that if he really attacks Greenland, it will be the end of NATO. It does not make sense to have a collective security organization where the major ally attacks another ally with the aim to take territory. So it would be the end of NATO. And my conclusion is, in that case, we would have to consider the establishment of what I would call a European NATO, a coalition of the willing, capable, and willing to do what is necessary to defend Europe.
Standing back, it seems extraordinary that we're having this conversation. And when you look at what's happened just in the last few days, Donald Trump plants a Stars and Stripes flag on Greenland, an AI image. He threatens a 200% tariff on French champagne simply because Emmanuel Macron won't join his peace board. He suggests that he'll wage war on Greenland because he didn't win a peace prize. Do you agree with the Conservative peer Dan Hannan, who said today he has plainly now lost his mind?
Actually, the fact is, Trump uses the same kind of language as autocrats in Moscow and Beijing. Putin and Xi Jinping use exactly the same language, and they applaud this split across the Atlantic. They will be the winners if they see the transatlantic community erode. So it doesn't make sense. And the fact is, the American people doesn't understand and doesn't support this aggressive behavior. So I think time has come to stand up against Trump. It will have an impact on him in an election year in the United States.
You say it doesn't make sense. It's senseless. Has he taken leave of his senses?
I don't know, but my observation is there is no strategy behind President Trump's behavior, and it's a self-inflicting behavior that will harm the United States in the long run.
I wonder why you're reluctant to answer that question, because you've said, it's time for flattery is over. So speak plainly. Do you think the people who say he's gone mad are right?
Yeah, but well, I think it is senseless the way he is behaving. It doesn't serve American interest, and I really hope the American people will react against this in the midterms in November, and I hope the near circles in the Trump administration will gradually comprehend that this is not the way forward. If you want to make America great, then you need alliances and you need strong partners.
Are you worried about Donald Trump?
Yes, I'm worried about this erosion of the Western community and the transatlantic relationship. For me, it's been very painful to see this development. Since childhood, I have admired the United States. As Prime Minister and Secretary General of NATO, I worked closely with American leaders. I saw the United States as the natural leader of the free world. But now we are seeing this picture erode, and I think we have to change our behavior and draw new conclusions.
You described Donald Trump as behaving like an autocrat, like Putin, for example. And of course, he's invited Putin to his peace board. He's invited also autocrats from Belarus and Kazakhstan. Is he, Donald Trump, the biggest threat now to world peace?
Yes, indeed. Because we know that President Putin is an enemy of freedom and democracy. We know that Xi Jinping is an enemy of freedom and democracy. But President Trump's unpredictability is actually now shaking the whole world and eroding the transatlantic relationship between America and all the democracies in Europe. So this shaking up the world order creates a lot of risks. So I think it's fair to conclude that President Trump is a real threat to world peace.
Isn't that unbelievable that you're making that statement about America?
It is unbelievable, and for me, it's been a painful process to reach that conclusion. But I think the conclusion is very clear. Europe must do more to stand on its own feet. For too long, we have based our prosperity on a combination of cheap energy from Russia, cheap goods from China, and cheap security from United States. This model doesn't work any longer. We will have to be able to stand on our own feet in Europe.
Does Europe have the leadership? Does it have the capacity to do that?
Actually, we do have a lot of capacity in Europe. Europe is leading in many ways, but we are split in a way that makes us weak. And now time has come to unite and deliver clear responses to the threat from Trump.
Anders Rasmussen, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.